Welcome to a very special edition of the Tom Golly official podcast. This is the Christmas party. And with me today is some of my favorite people. If you've come and seen one of my live shows, you've seen these guys. If you've, and one of these guys, if you've listened to my last couple releases, is a big part of making those happen. So I'm going to start off by going around the table, introducing these guys one by one. So the first one I'm going to go to over here is my good man. Yes, I'm going to go this way instead of we're going to change the plan around a little bit.
Sweet.
Everyone's like, wait a minute, I thought he was going this way. No, I'm going that way. So across table from me is a good buddy of mine. He does a lot of cool stuff. He's played guitar for me at various events. He's also helps me out with the podcast quite a bit. He's a great videographer, a great musician, great friend, and a huge collector of Funko Pops. He owns 6. Welcome Nathan Lundstrom to today's podcast.
Thank you, Tom. For all of you here who have not seen my party trick, I have one party trick that I want to show off.
He's super festive. Yes.
I got a light up hat.
All right.
So I'll leave this on for a little bit and elevate the party.
That's right, because you got to elevate the party. I brought the very special One Bite, everybody knows the rules, ugly Christmas sweater. I rock in that. I am dying in it right now, but hey, that's the Christmas season. So to his right is it's my main man, Victor. It's Victor Roman. He is a producer, songwriter. He is one heck of a guitar player. He's played bass for me. He is a big part of making the Tom Golly official podcast happen. He does all the editing, including some of the funny things that you see in some of the episodes. That's his revenge on me. But please welcome Victor Roman. Welcome, man.
Thank you. I'd rather be on that side of the camera.
Probably. I mean, you definitely got the face for a podcast, though. That's for sure. So next to him is a very, very special person to me. He is you've seen him. He's played drums for me. He's pretended to play guitar in a few of my TikTok fun videos that I've put out. He easily gets mistaken for Chris Daughtry many a time.
True. It's true.
But that is my main man. That is Chris Carrion. My wayward son.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I'm a little. Victor and I kind of look the same, so I'm a little.
You do, but I think you win the battle of the bald.
Battle of the bald.
The battle of the bald.
Glasses off.
Yeah.
Who wins the battle of the bulge?
Chris, how'd you get over there? It's not over. Chris, when did you get a nose ring?
Yeah, when did you get it? Wait, did you guys switch seats? This is weird. Yeah, and by battle of the bulge, you're talking about your bellies, right? Out of everybody here, I think right now the shape I'm in, I think I win that battle hands down.
Oh my God.
So to my left is he's probably the newest member of my of this little family that I've started. He loves his wife. He says her name a lot. Especially during prayer about needing hope. And, that also is, and he's a newlywed, amazing man of God, incredible guitar player, loves his church, lots of zeal, loves wearing random Goodwill First Church. What is that, a First Church hat?
Yes, First Church of Baptist of some church in Illinois.
Yep.
It's my prized possession.
Yep. And this is Jonathan Denney. Welcome, man.
So happy to be here, man.
So one of the fun things I thought was going to be cool about this episode is normally I have one guest, I have one guy or one gal or whoever comes on, and we just sort of talk about a lot of what they've done, what they're doing, what maybe just whatever sort of comes up. And I thought this would be fun to have you guys on and kind of let you guys share with each other, because you guys have all been out with me in different times, different junctures, different shows, and sometimes together, sometimes not. And there are a lot of crazy, funny stuff that happens. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for fans of the podcast, fans of my music, to kind of get a glimpse into some of the things that maybe they haven't heard about before.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
really hard about this.
It's a Christmas gift to the world, And
Tom is the gift.
Now, just remember, guys, and the only thing I want to warn my crew about here is this. For every story you think you have on me, I got one on you. So let's just be mindful of these things. So anyhow, man, so I guess it's been a crazy year. some of you guys have played with some other people. I know I'm your favorite to play with, easy, hands down. You know, there's a reason why, like, when I see posts by some of you guys, I'm the first one you thank. Hey, you know what I mean? There's a reason for this, right? Probably because I'll be like, why don't you thank me first, bro?
I was missing a couple zeros in my paycheck.
There it is, I mean, especially because I'm paying you in Dogecoin, so works out pretty well, But man, it is, again, been a crazy season. So, I mean, when looking back on the year, I mean, what would you, and again, anyone can kind of pick this up here, but like, what would you say is like, maybe there's a show we did, maybe there's something, maybe it was a rehearsal, whatever it might have been. What's something that kind of stands out to you as like man, I'm going to be telling that story for a long time.
I'll start with this one because I know mine right away. I've already thought about this question because thinking like I'm on a podcast with Tom. He's going to ask a gig story. I'm like, what's my gig story? My first gig with Tom was you, I, and Chris were out. We went up to Missouri and we played a festival in Missouri. Okay, we were in the van. On the way back to Tennessee, we were supposed to get home at 10 o'clock at night. And that was late, but it was going to be okay. We didn't get home until 3 a.m.
Oh,
we were
stuck in Kentucky.
Totally stopped in Kentucky
Right,
in a one-lane construction zone because there was a blockage somewhere miles ahead of us.
I'm a little worried about how much of the story he's going to tell right now. Edit this out. Edit this out.
It was a long 5 hours past the time we thought we were going to get home. We sat in that van with the van off in park, lights off, like just hanging out, playing cards, goofing off. I learned how competitive Tom is when it comes to cards.
That is a true story, everyone.
No,
it was. There was visible aggression.
The Karen 2 cars behind. He's like, did that van just flip?
I mean, I think there may have been 1 or 2 times where I did open the door just to yell. I was so mad. Just to clarify, we were playing Egyptian Rat Tail or Egyptian Rat's Crew. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of different names for it, and anyone who's ever played that game knows how frustrating it can get. And this is poor Nathan's first time out with me, and I'm kind of really surprised he's still around after this. I think I may have playfully, half kidding, half serious, dove at Chris's neck to choke him.
Well, I mean, when you win 8 straight games, that's only fair.
No, it was 12.
I won 12?
You won
boy's counting
12
cards over
straight
there.
games.
12 straight games.
It was the most frustrating
Those drummer
thing.
hands.
Yeah. It was, oh man. I mean, it was, I don't think I've ever, I mean,
I may have literally dodged a bullet at some point.
Oh man. Yeah. That was, I think that's enough of that story.
Yeah. It was so I like very fond memories of my first gig out, being part of Tom's crew.
Yeah. I mean, or maybe he stayed on the crew because he's afraid. He's like, oh no, I've seen what I can have. Oh man, that was a night, man. Like we're like maybe 2 hours out from home. Mm-hmm. We're like, yeah, we're gonna grab some food quick, and then before you know it, it's like 3 a.m. We're just like, no, it was tough. Yeah, and that was good times, man. Definitely some good times. Man, I'm just gonna say this. There was some not so good times for me very recently. And I know Chris and Jonathan were out with me on I think it was one of the last runs we did. And man, I'll let them tell that story because my gosh, being healthy is something that I've always prided myself on. I know what story. Yeah. So being healthy, is just something I've always prided myself on, and I'm always, I'm being sick or anything like that just doesn't really happen much to me.
Okay.
And then there was Virginia. So we did a little run. We were heading up to the northeast,
man. It's all you.
and yeah, I'll let these guys tell that story, man, because that's a night that I don't think they're ever gonna let me forget.
I just remember stopping at a Sheetz or a Love's or something somewhere.
I think it was Sheets.
It was Sheetz, yeah, it was somewhere on the road, and I'm a big like meat, cheese, and fruit guy. So no matter where we stop, I'm like, I'm gonna grab meat, cheese, and fruit. Probably not always the best option, but so I grabbed one, and then you looked, you're like, I'm gonna get one too. So you grabbed like the one right after I had grabbed, and we get in the car. You know, all's kind of well and fine. We're all kind of eating, snacking as we go, and all of a sudden, Tom just kind of starts letting these little hints that he's just not feeling super well, and it's like, man, my stomach's just. Man, something's off. It's like an hour goes by or more, and then all of a sudden, Tom's like, "Man, I feel like I've got to throw up. I just can't. I just won't do it. I haven't thrown up in 10 years. It's something like what you said. You're like, I just can't do it. I'm like, he's trying to break a record.
Yeah. No, it's just, man, like for me, it was like, man, that's just such a violent happening for me.
Oh no, we know now.
We know now. It like I've blown blood vessels in my eyes. Like it's been bad, and I'm just like, no, it's not. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do.
So we're trying to kind of push through the night, like with the intention of we might get to this hotel at 3 or 4 in the morning, but we're gonna do it. And we are just pulling into some random town. I don't even know what state we were in at that point.
We were probably in Virginia.
Virginia. So
we were heading up to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So, no, we were in Maryland. That's where we were.
So we're in Maryland, and all of a sudden Tom's like, pull over. I just gotta. We pull over like the side of the road first, right? No, it was
we
a
were
gas
at the
station
gas
first.
station. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to go to the bathroom. Yeah.
So I don't know if you threw up in the bathroom at all.
I did not.
Yeah. So you come outside, and I'm sitting in there with Chris, and we're just like, man, this really sucks. Because there's a lot of compassion because we all know how it feels to get sick, and then Tom's like, I'm gonna take a lap outside, and you start walking.
Yep.
And you walk away, and you're like walking back, and you're like, hey, You'd already told Chris, go ahead and get in the driver's seat.
And then Chris gets out of the car to come talk to me, and he's like, "You all right, bro?"
And then yeah, and he's just as you're walking towards the van, just bend over, and it's just I could hear you. You were like 30 feet from the car, and I hear just the loudest roaring thing. I was like, oh my God, is this what it sounds like when they like let off one of those pressure valves at the Hoover Dam? And so then you're fine, but then you're kind of walking over like you're about to get in the back seat, and I'm looking at Chris like, man, this sucks. I feel so bad for him. And then I hear it again, and I'm like, I could not help myself. I start dying because it's like, but it was like this big beast roar.
It was not fun.
Yeah.
You know, and then then I'm thinking, no, we're back in the van. It's like, oh, I think I'm good. I think I got it all. I'm okay. And then we're driving for maybe 30 minutes, and then I'm in the back seat, like, and then I'm just like, Chris, like just hitting him like. Pull over. But the worst part is this. The man pulls over, and I hop out of the van to, like, this drop-off. I'm just like, whoa. So I'm trying to, like balance on the ravine and, like, get rid of the rest of this demon that's in me. And yeah. But then, so here's the funny part. So then, we end up going, I go, you know what? I like Google. I find out like the nearest hotel. I'm like, I can't. I just need to lay down, go to bed. And these guys are like, well, we check in a hotel. I'm like a zombie. I mean, for those who could see on camera, I was just kind of like, 32 rooms, thank you. Okay. And check us in a room, and they go, and they're like, do you need anything? I'm like, dude, just bring me back some kind of soup or something. And, I pride myself on being like the big brother in the room. I'm the guy who's going to like, someone messes at you, I'm going to protect them. I'm the fighter. I'm the tough guy. That's sort of like my vibe, And sure enough, I finally while they were gone, I took a shower. I was feeling a little better, but still just out of it. And I'm like in bed, and Chris comes in. I gave him my room key, and he comes in with some soup and puts it on the nightstand, and and I'm just like, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it, man. Just like feeling like, oh no, I feel like this little child being like taken care of. And in the morning, it's just like, forget that happened. It's like, you want to go, bro? Oh, man. But crazy. But you know what, man? As funny as that story is, I got one about this good man right here.
Okay.
So it was the same run.
Okay.
We were coming back home this time. No,
Okay.
was it the same run? I don't think it was.
No,
It was. Was it? No, it was a one-off that we
It was
did.
a one-off.
Oh no, you're right. It was a
Yeah,
one-off.
we did the one-off. Okay, and we got in pretty late. Well, because we went out, we got some food at what was it, Old Chicago?
Well, yeah, because the Applebee's was closed at 9 for some reason.
Yeah, Applebee's closes at 9. Okay, that's not fancy like. Okay, we didn't get to have our Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake. We didn't have any of that.
That's God saving you from yourself. You don't need this.
So we ended up at an Old Chicago. We had our great pizza, and so then we're back at the hotel. We're it's sleeping, and I think it's maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, and I just hear knocking on the door constantly. And at first, I'm just kind of laying there going like, "This got to be somebody in the wrong room," and it keeps happening. So finally, I get up. And I'm just kind of walking in the dark to the room. And, I put on my full New York, like, who is it? Because I want to sound like, hey, they want, if somebody got bad news, they might realize, oh, this is the gangster room. I don't want to mess with this. And I open the door and it's Jonathan. And he's just like, hey, sorry, man. I don't know how I got out here. and I'm kind of like, me a little concerned. But I'm like, wait, let's talk about this. And he just like face down in the bed, back to sleep, and I'm kind of like, he's explaining that. I want to know.
Oh my God.
And apparently you sleptwalked.
I just woke up in the lobby, fully clothed. And I was not clothed like I was. I had put like pajama shorts on and everything, but I woke up in full garb, whatever. And I'm just in the lobby with my bag around my shoulder. I'm like, what is going on? And so I kind of stumble my way up, and I don't even remember that. I don't even remember this part of the conversation. I remember knocking on the door and then just waking up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what happened,
so
man.
The funny part is when you guys went out you guys beat me into the van in the morning. I asked the lady at the because it was like 7 a.m. I asked the lady up front. I'm like, hey, did you see that guy walking around down here like a couple hours ago? She's like, yeah, he just kind of stood in the middle of the lobby for like 15 minutes and just standing in one spot.
No way.
And I'm just like, can I get the video?
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
Oh my
funny,
God.
man.
I just remember being really concerned. I'm like, how did you find our room?
I
Did
don't
you start knocking on every door until somebody like
I remember waking up and finding the door, and then that was it. I just remember like, okay, this door, because it was like we were in like room like 330, something like that,
Yeah.
and that's all I remember.
Yeah. So Victor, you've come out and been part of a couple shows. Most of the time, you've actually you didn't tour, like hop in the van with as much. You've kind of always kind of met me in the middle of nowhere. You drove there separately. I mean, is there anything?
I'm your 911.
Yeah,
I'm your 911.
Yeah.
Essentially, what happened?
Victor's actually been the guy I have called. I'm like, yo, man, we're gonna be in Iowa tomorrow. I need a guitar player. It's kind of an event, respecting a lot of people. And I was like, I need you, man. Can you make it? And sure enough, man, dude's like, all right, I'm there. I mean, without even like much of a conversation.
My story is like they have not like it took a while to get to that point, but my two stories have nothing to do with it. I have two because one's about me and how like something that was funny with me and embarrassing for me, and then the other one's for you. And I'm gonna apologize for that one in advance because this one I felt so bad. But the first one was like the first show I ever played with you. The first show I ever played.
I
with
feel
you
like there's a
was that.
theme. The first show thing.
Yeah, the first show that I ever played with you, because you sent it to me. This is before you even really knew me. Is you sent me what's expected, like your contract, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like show blacks.
It's not really a contract. It's just more of like, hey, this is what I want, and this is what you can expect from me. Yeah, it's totally.
Yeah. You sent me your sheet. It's like show black to this. I was all set. I was like, I got black skinny. Oh, my antlers are attacking. But I had like my show blacks, my jeans, everything. I knew the set. I was rehearsed. I was good. I was locking it down. I was a pro. And then I realized once I got on stage, and I'm a pretty active musician on stage compared to what you do. I'll let the track do its thing, and then I'll play a lot of the hard parts because I don't need help. I'm good. But then when
I don't need that. I don't need the tracks. I'm good.
I do one spin with my guitar, and I'm lucky I wore a long tee because in front of it was a good sized crowd. It wasn't full, but we were the opener that day.
Yeah.
I did one spin. My pants are like, I feel them tuck underneath my butt cheeks while I do one spin, the first spin in the first song, and I'm just like, oh no. And the entire time, so the entire time I'm in like the guitarist power stance, not because I think it's cool, not because I want to be.
Sheer necessity.
Because my pants are gonna fall down, and I'm doing this. Like I can do like little spins and stuff. I was at a CCM concert. It was a CCM show, but I was kicking like it was a deathcore Metallica.
Was that One Fest Newsboys?
That was the first one. Yep, One Fest Newsboys. And I was spinning, and there's a video of that. You see me like I'm like a pelican just spinning around to keep my pants on.
Oh no, that's funny.
That was the one for like. That's probably the most embarrassing for me, but like for you.
For me.
For you. This is what with all so. People that I think I can say it because you've said it and you're open with it and you're open with the story is you've lost a lot of weight from where you used to be.
At one point.
Weight.
COVID's given me back some, but yeah, at one point.
He's lost a ton of weight. And I didn't play with Tom, but I saw Tom when he had his old crew before like BC, before us, before any of us. He had his
crew.
Old crew. Yeah, before crew. And he was super nice, super great, super nice guy. But he was playing at this venue. It wasn't a venue. It was a theme park.
Oh, Holiday World.
Holiday World.
Yeah,
we were at Holiday World.
Terrible.
You know,
it sounds like the kind that it's like you're expecting to go to Six Flags or something else. It's like, we're going to Holiday World. It's like, Mom.
That's kind of like when you ask for like a Star Wars lightsaber when you're a kid for Christmas, but instead you get like
Bible Man saber,
or you get like you get like the no frills, like the galactic light sword,
galactic laser sword.
Yeah. Like,
but actually, to be fair, it was actually pretty decent for what it was. Sure. And the hardest part about that kind of venue was you had to park in like general.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. When you rolled up, so
this isn't a day I almost died, is it?
So there's a load in, and it's so the load-in spot from where they were making the musicians load in was like a mile from where the stage was in the park.
Yeah.
And you had to roll that stuff, and it was like a slight uphill ramp. Not uphill to where you couldn't do it, but uphill just to irritate you.
Yeah.
When you're going up, and you're getting to the stage, and you get there, you play your show, you're fine. And then I see you load all the stuff down, and you got to go all the way back out there to load the stuff in. And he was treating us to the water park when we were there. And he's like, all right, we're going to get swim trucks. We go to the water park half of the park. And we get to the water park half of the park. So he's walked this long stretch, like however much. He was a bigger dude. This big dude that was walking probably at least 3 miles.
I was at my heaviest I've ever been at that. In 102-degree weather, yeah.
And he used to wear the poncho shirts, the poncho button-ups that he used to have.
I just thought, hey, it looks cool to dress like this in 100-degree weather. Let me do it.
And then, so he walked, keep in mind, so there was load in, load off, the walk back to the water park, which was actually past the stage. Yeah. It was like probably about a mile and a half. And then he gets to the water park and he's like, I don't know where my wallet is. I don't know where my wallet is. So everybody's watching the water slides and everything. And he's like, I don't know where my wallet is. I gotta go find the wallet. And so you gotta walk back.
Oh, man.
I've
walked.
never seen you that irritated.
Wait, I'm gonna finish a little bit of this story.
Okay, go for it.
So I had to walk. So I had walked back to where the venue was, and I'm searching everywhere. And I asked a couple people, "Hey man, you see like a wallet around here, you know?" And you know, look, to be fair, it was hot. Other people had other things going on, and most people were like, "No, I didn't see it." And like, it just felt like, man, no one cares. I need my wallet. We need gas to go home. Like, rah, you know. So I had, so my guitar player at the time, this guy Jeremy, and you know, great dude, you know, but he was super short guy too, you know. And I'd sent him out, and I was like, "Hey, so you're heading back to the van anyway? Can you check in my suitcase and see if my wallet's in there?" Because at the time, there really wasn't much in the suitcase. So I'm like, just check and see if it's in there, because I have a tendency to take stuff out of my pocket, just throw it in there. Check it for me. Calls me a little later. "Yeah, man, it's not in there." And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I walk all the way to the van again and look everywhere. It's not there. I walk back. Again, we're talking like a good mile and a half.
Imagine a guy who was just fuming out of his ears,
Yeah.
but saying the nicest things to people, everybody around him. He's like, "You can go to the water park. You'd have a good time." He's like,
Yeah,
"You can go to the water park. You can have a good you can do that. Go on ahead. Okay,
I got it. Yeah. So I walk all the way back to the where the stage was in the middle of the park, look around again, and I'm like, I'm gonna check the van one more time. Walk all the way back to the van, check again, can't find it. Then I decide, you know what? Let me check this suitcase. I take the suitcase out of the van, unzip it, open it up. It's literally right in the middle of the suitcase. So I'm like, I come back, I find Jeremy, and I'm like, "You said you looked." He goes, "I did." I go, "Did you take it out of the van?" Well, no, I just kind of looked in it. He just unzipped it and looked in when I don't see it. A black wallet, and a black suitcase. I was just like, good luck getting home, bro. You're done. But I will say, man, I finally made it to the water park, and the water was like, it was amazing. And I just wasn't mad anymore. I'm like, it's okay. You know what? I'm good. But man, that was a day that, I mean, look, Jeremy was my boy. Like he'd if I asked him to walk 5 miles from me, get me something, he would have done it. Like totally cool. But the one time it would have been great. It would have been like, that would have saved me a lot of trouble. But you know, honestly, it was that day that made me know, hey man, I really need to do something about my health, because like I really couldn't handle that. Like that was bad. And you know, yeah, I lost a lot of weight after that, you know, and COVID gave me back some of it. But you know, part 2 of that journey is starting again, and I'm excited for it, because get back to, you know, kind of, I think we all had a lot disrupted for us in COVID, whether it was a health journey, music journey, career journey. So, you know, 2021, things were creeping back slow. I think 2022 is a great time to get started and, you know, make new embarrassing memories to have a podcast at the end of the year for, right?
Yeah.
So now you guys kind of shared a story, but I'm sure Chris has another one.
So I'm kind of with Nathan. I knew you were going to ask this question, so I've already thought about it. And it is, and also a first time ever playing with Tom story. So there's absolutely a theme.
Sure.
So if you've never been to a Tom Golly show, one thing that sets Tom apart is he's got this crazy like light rig. What? Anyway, he's got this crazy light rig. It takes a while to set up, but it totally makes the show sick.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for that.
yeah, so we set all this up. We were already running late to the venue, and then I think it was a brand new crew. Like none of us had played together at the same time, and so there's just a lot of like moving parts going around and everything, and like we barely got everything set up before showtime. And so Tom was like, "Hey guys, like you're pros. I trust you. Just do what you got to do." Everyone's like, "Cool." So we go up there, start the tracks, play the first song. The second song just goes straight in from you end the first song. The second song goes straight in, and then there's a break. Well, we got to the break, and I didn't know what to do after that. So everything just dies. All the lights die. It's pitch black in the venue.
I remember that.
And like I didn't know what button I was supposed to press because we realized we never went through it. Mm-hmm. And so now we're just sitting here live, and it's like Tom's looking at me like the death stare, like hit the button. And I'm like, I don't know what.
And the worst part is now what some people don't know. So Chris is he's either he just doesn't like to listen or he's actually hard of hearing. I haven't decided. But Chris is actually hard of hearing, which he can hear fine. He does well. But when you're on a stage and you're wearing in-ears, you're hard of hearing to begin with. If I'm not on, that's probably all he sees and hears. And so he has no idea what I'm trying to convey because I'm not on a microphone and it's challenging. So, yeah, I do remember that. And I do remember him apologizing constantly. I'm like, dude, it wasn't your fault. I forgot to tell you how to do that part. Like, duh.
It's just like, I remember seeing you and being like, I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I think you were like trying to convey to me like what to do. And then I saw this like light switch in your head flip off and be like, oh yeah, we never talked about that.
Yep, we didn't. Yeah. And that was just like, wow.
It was just a very awkward, like,
right.
I don't know. It felt like 5 minutes, but it was probably only like 30 seconds.
And also because, to be fair, the way I had triggered tracks was different than what you were used to.
That's true.
You were used to just maybe pressing number 1 and it goes, where I always had it 1 space bar. And
and that's what I was doing. And so I was hitting the space bar and you had programmed it to space bar would basically like kill everything.
Yeah.
And so like I just kept hitting space bar thinking that's what I needed to do. And it was literally just killing it.
It was just
Stopping everything.
Yeah. So we ended up changing it to where he, like, hey, he's like, well, I'm just used to just pressing number 1 and it goes, number 2 and it goes, space bar's just to stop. So I made those changes, and actually I'm glad because it's much easier. There's way less chance for a mistake because if you hit space bar a second time, it can throw a lot of things off. It gets wonky. So, but I remember that, man. That's funny.
It's just like that. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's and I've had weird stuff happen with tracks too. Like there's a guy Brian who used to play drums for me, and he was always good. He saved a few songs sometimes because something wonky would happen with the track, and he just kind of had the presence of mind to just kill the track and whatever. Like the song still went on. It maybe wasn't as full, but it worked. We finished it, and there's plenty of times where that happens. You kind of the drummer or whoever's triggering tracks will bail it out because it's like maybe sometimes the band is just so off and the tracks are just like goodbye tracks, or in this case the tracks looped for some reason. So we're like halfway through the song and all of a sudden the intro starts again while we're in the bridge. It's like
It's the extended cut.
Yeah. I've just learned to tell a crowd if we completely like botch a song, it's like, well, that's our version of it. Which is kind of like, yeah. We know,
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. It doesn't have to be weird, But so
I've got one prepped.
Oh,
that
you
I was
do?
holding on to. It's a very short one.
Okay.
And it's not it's funny, but it's also partially just something that like showed me a lot about you and who you are and your character. Like it's just an awesome thing. So for those of you who don't know Tom, like in the short amount of time that I've known him, I've never seen him do anything halfway. And if he does
Full
anything,
send.
it's full send. And it's like, he is going to, number 1, like do the absolute most. And then 2, he's going to get killer deals doing all of it that's what I'm tilling. That doesn't factor into the story at all, that part, but like just he does the most. So the van that all the touring gets done in is called the Iron Van.
Oh.
And it is full of all these awesome, crazy, cool security measures, and it's a beefed up machine. It's awesome. Well, I think on the second run we're doing with you, like because you take such good care of this thing, it's like if something's going out, it's like you take that as like your personal responsibility. You're like, oh my God, like I messed up.
Yeah.
And sometimes things just go out. Well, the AC started to go out.
No. Yeah.
Oh no.
It would be going fine if we're going downhill or like on a flat surface. But if he engaged like the gas at all, like it just kind of cut out.
So this was kind of like this for a couple of runs. Just because to me at the time, it didn't seem like it was that serious. It was like, all right, it cuts out a little bit when you're on a hill. Big deal. How many hills are you going to hit in a run sometimes on a highway, right? So that was kind of my take, especially because I'm in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my mindset for the 2 weekend runs that it was the problem. Yeah.
And we would like mention it and Tom be like, yeah, I know. Like, don't worry about it. And we're like, okay, we totally know he's got it. It's not going to be
Tom, it's so hot back here.
and I think Tom, even though he's the most caring guy you'll ever meet, there's part of him going, come on, you big baby. Like, what do you like? And I understand that. I get that. But like, we'd be like, Chris was like, man, it's hot. And so like, then I switched with him and I'm sitting back there going,
yeah. I got mad at these guys because at one point, like we're driving and, and it's a hot day and I get it. I mean, it wasn't, again, I'm in the driver's seat and I do have at least some air blowing on me or whatever, and I'm kind of like, it sucks, but in my head, I'm like, it's not that bad. And like to the point where like, the air kind of cut out a little bit and like Chris is reaching up from the back seat, like feeling the air. And I'm just like, if you could say, if you see this on camera, you could see I'm kind of like, guys, stop doing this. Okay. I know.
It doesn't help.
It's not that bad. Come on. Stop. All right. It's not that bad. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's, and I apologize right away after kind of getting mad.
Well, it's just because you cared about like it mattered a lot, and it
did, yeah.
Well, and then we didn't say anything
but
for
I
like.
honestly didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't.
For 3 more runs, we didn't say anything because he's like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
We literally did 3 more 2-day runs, and then like at this point we've done 3-4 runs, and then Tom goes,
and I've done most of the driving in those runs too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
At least during the day I did. Yeah.
And then, but like I don't know. I don't think it was the same. It was a different run.
It was
from
the next run after I kind of snapped at you guys.
Yeah. And so we're 3-4 hours out from Nashville, and you've been riding in the back for a bit, and you just kind of sit up after laying down for a bit, and you're like, oh my God, it's an inferno. You're like, guys, I am so sorry. So
oh man, I never felt more. I'm laying back there and just literally like, it's just terrible. And what I never realized was happening, like they had described it, but I didn't know. So there was so ultimately there was a vacuum issue with the air conditioner. And what makes me angry is that when I did fix it, it took me 10 minutes and $60 worth of parts to fix it. It was not a big deal. I mean, literally one YouTube video and I'm like, that's all I gotta do? And I felt worse. Like I fixed it and I'm like, I should have done this 2 months ago. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be a big deal. So, but what was happening was the AC would cut out because you're going up a hill and it would lose vacuum pressure. But then it was closing the blend door, causing heat from like the heater core to get blown in behind this vent just in front of the back seat. So you're like right there in the back seat and it's just like 100-degree air just and you're just and now bear in mind when you're in the front seat you at least have some air blowing on you and you don't feel that. And I was just like, I am so sorry. Like now because even now I'm in the back seat like, the heck?
It's like if it's a summer day and you get out of a car and you're like, oh God, it's so nice out here. But I think for me, like not just the fact like, oh, you can fix it in $10 in an hour, like that was cool to me, but it's also just the fact that you all of this is just a byproduct of how much you cared.
Yeah.
So it was in that moment I'm like, I'll go anywhere with this guy.
Yeah. I mean, my philosophy on look, I mean, you're a solo artist. You bring guys out with you. First off, I mean, look, I'm an indie artist. I can't pay what you guys are listen, I know what you guys are worth. And, I mean, because you see what people go out for, some of the bigger artists, what some of those BAMers are getting paid. Granted, they're on a bus and those artists are getting paid way ton. But in my opinion, you guys are worth way more. The least I can do is make sure, hey, we travel comfortably, clean, and, at least because being in a van for hours can be at times a miserable experience just when it's hot or cold or whatever it is. So I always try to make it the best experience I can. And except for maybe when we're playing cards and, people are getting choked and, but, and that's just sort of my philosophy. It's like, you should at least enjoy being on the road because playing the actual show is the smallest amount of time you're going to spend on almost doing anything. So that's always been a thing for me. It's like, I want that to be enjoyable. I mean, like, I think I owned the van for maybe like 6 months and I didn't like the way it rode. So I replaced the entire suspension. I mean, new springs, new shocks, new everything. Like, yeah, this thing just sucks when it hits bumps. I don't like it. It like literally, it hurts everyone's back. Like, gotta fix it. Put money into it. Cause I just was like, this this cannot be, sometimes we've been in the van for 13 hours and it's like, this cannot be a terrible experience,
I think what a lot of people don't realize too about like going on the road in a van, like you're hanging out with people and like that, like you said, like the show is such a small portion of time spent when you're doing a weekend run or you're doing a 5-day, 7-day. Like you're spending 22 and a half hours with these people outside of that show time.
Yeah.
Like what can you do to set everyone, I mean, even including yourself, like you're thinking, okay, like as an artist, what headspace do I want to be in when I arrive to the venue, when I arrive to the festival, so that I can communicate with the people that I'm supposed to talk to check in, to get our load in, our schedule, make sure everything's like good. It's like, how can I be the best artist I can be, and how can I set up my crew and my band or my team to be the best they can be? Like it's not just about like my back hurts when I get hit on a bumps,
Right.
or when I hit bumps, like, but it's how do I feel after my back hurts when I show up to the gig and I'm crabby, and now I'm not putting my best foot forward. And when we're doing shows with festival where there's ministry involved, like I don't want to show up and be crabby,
Right.
because like my back hurts from the van. Like I want to show up and I want to be able to present like.
That's why we
like
make
the
sure.
message.
That's why when Nathan comes on the road, we make sure we feed him before we come to the shows.
Yeah.
Oh, hangry Nathan is bad, Nathan.
And I get back because that's happened to me the last couple times that I played for Tom. It's few and far between, but when I do go and play for, like, it's happened recently with the past couple times.
Yeah.
Is how I've been, by lack of comfortability from point A to point B before we play the show, it's affected my performance in a negative way. And I think one way we can improve that, how hard would it be? You're a thrifter. You go out to Goodwills and your bins and all that stuff.
Sometimes
you can find a DVD player, and I
Hold on.
really
All right.
feel like I just need
time out. The guy who shows up, and Chris can attest to this, who shows up with a MacBook, 2 tablets, an iPad, 15 different pieces of tech, and you want me to provide a DVD player?
I don't pay for data. What do you think I made of money?
I mean,
I don't pay for data.
you live in Minnesota. Everything's free up there, right?
just clothes and lutefisk.
There you go. But
It's
yeah,
just closing
but yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, I feel like, you're in the middle of nowhere sometimes. There's people you don't know, and you need to feel comfortable. There needs a place that feels like home, and home. The van is home. The home van is home base. It's a safe place to hide. It's a safe, and it's got to be a place you're looking forward to getting into at any juncture. And that's something I always worked hard for. And man, again, I apologize to you guys for the inferno, the oven that I put you guys in. I really didn't know it was that bad.
Like,
I really didn't know.
I just remember driving and I see in the rearview mirror you pop up.
You like your eyes up.
Just, guys, it's so hot.
Oh man.
Yeah, and part of me is like, okay, I almost halfway wanted to, I was ready to offer you guys money, like, hey, how much to just go somewhere till it gets dark. It was bad. Now, and that I realize now that was actually something that was slowly getting worse for over the course of a year. Because I remember we were out on that Christmas tour and it was get really hot for no reason. And I realized that check valve or whatever the problem was acting up even then.
But we were in negative 14-degree Fargo, so it was it's kind of.
But what it would do is like anybody who had a bag down where that vent was, it would just cook whatever's in there. I remember having I had somebody gave us chocolate bars at a show, and we're like, thanks. And I just kind of stuffed them in a pouch in my bag, and for some reason they were just melted. I'm like, how did this happen? It just made no sense. It's 3 degrees out, But man, it's definitely wild stuff that happens on the road, But I mean, now as far as the shows go and stuff, what would you guys say has been your favorite part of? I mean, ultimately, I know like I said, you've played with other people. You've played with other people. Everyone here has played with other people besides me. What's ultimately your favorite part about going out and playing shows with artists, whether it's me or someone else? What is your favorite aspect of that? I mean, who kind of go around and kind of all chime in on it, or
It's fun when different things get pulled out of you depending on who you're playing with.
yeah.
And some artists will pull more out of you than others.
Is that both on and off stage, would you say, or is it like?
I would say mostly in an on stage. And that's the
Okay.
context I'm thinking of, and
Sure,
specifically. Some it's like, you know, maybe the songs are more challenging, or there's some where it's like, you know, maybe the songs are not quite as, but you enjoy playing them because you like what they say.
Yeah.
But then there's like, in the context of when I'm playing with you, like it's always this super consistent energy, and you kind of free me up to. I'm a wild player, and I love to get into everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
And you just completely support that, so it's really fun. I just love playing whenever
Yeah.
we get to play together. So it's just one of those things, man. It's like it's all going to be varying degrees of different things.
What I've enjoyed about being able to bring you on the road is there's been times and opportunities to be like, because you're an artist yourself, you're a songwriter yourself, and I mean you like, I gotta say, what bothers me is if we had like Simon Cowell and Paul Abdul like judging the contest, this dude's gonna win the singing contest hands down. It's just like incredible,
It's
you know.
kind. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, but you know what though, it pushes me as well to be like, man, like it just makes me want to sing better too. So it's been cool though to get opportunities to kind of, because your musical sound is a lot different than mine. So it's a good, and you know, your vibe's pretty chill. It's really chill, good to listen to. And then we kind of bring a different energy after that, which has been cool. But it's been cool to kind of get to facilitate that and kind of, you know, yeah, sure, this is my show, but I get to spectate someone that I support heavily and enjoy watching that happen. And I know that you genuinely enjoy, and it's cool. It seems like you enjoy like playing your own music just as much as other people. And I think that's really, I've seen like for hire guys who do their own music almost kind of resent the fact that they're playing other people's music, and for you it's all one and the same, man. And it's really it's very cool to see, you know. And I see that consistently like within your life. Like, I mean, in all seriousness, like you've recently been married. The way you talk about your wife and your marriage is the same passion about your church. Like you just, everything that you do, you go in, it has all of you. And what's a consistent thing, and I think Chris has heard you talk enough about all these things to know it's not a me. It's like, this is so great. I'm lucky to be married to this woman. I'm lucky to be part of this church. Man, I love these songs. I love playing them. It's really cool to see, man. And just don't change that about yourself.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
Because I mean, I'm on the flip side. I'm going to be way more selfish moving forward. It's the me show. It's all about me. I want to go to the church with me. It's not true. You know, just become a big old me monster, you know? Some people think I'm already that. So, you know, I mean, why not? I have a podcast with my face on it, you know? I've put a 15-foot by 12-foot banner up in front of the crosses at churches. I mean, I've been accused of such things.
I think you're just brilliant at, honestly, and I say this, I'm not just blowing smoke, but it's like, I think that you're a really, really good self-promoter in a world where, like, that's what you've had to promote yourself. And I think you're so good at it, and it doesn't come across any negative way at all.
I mean, I feel like what I've tried to do is I've tried to promote myself more of like, this is the message I can bring.
Yeah.
This is the experience that me and my crew can bring, you know, and to be fair, man, like without you guys, none of that can be what it is. You know, sure, I co-wrote the songs or Victor helped me produce some of the songs that you listen to and you record, but going out and playing and like, you know, Tom Jackson talks about how like shows have, you know, it has to have, you know, your actors and your chapters and all that stuff. And you guys help create that naturally with the natural chemistry that, you know, like it's fun to see how like none of you guys knew each other before you ever played for me, ever. And it's cool to see like everyone, like when we got together just before we started taping, like it's like a family. It's really cool to see that. And that definitely, people have said that to me, like, you know, like they're just like, man, you guys must have been playing together forever. It's like, no, it's not. We haven't. But there's the reason you guys bring that, you know, and you guys definitely bring out the best version of me musically. Because I mean, I say this all the time. I'm the least talented guy on a stage. I'm easily the least talented guy in this room. You know, I may just make up for that in effort. you know? And at the end of the day, it's like, man, I'll say this on record, but like without you guys, none of it happens. So it's just definitely awesome that you guys were willing to come in here and talk about both the good and the funny. You know, so I mean,
I was gonna say, I'm glad you feel that way, and that was your response to his answer, because I don't think I'm gonna get that from mine. From my
How so?
answer that you just said.
Oh, no.
Because it kind of falls in the vein of your selfishness and your how you like being a selfish dude, but and it's kind of I don't view it as what's it called, self-indulgent. I think whenever I go up and I play a show, it's kind of weird. I go up and I feel like what's that old video game that was pixelated and you had to like jump over Pitfall? I feel like I'm the Pitfall dude, and I'm like in the video game and I'm like, okay, I gotta do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have fun. So I see playing music live, no matter how easy it is or how good it is or how difficult it is. I see it and I make it a challenge, and I make it a challenge because the churches that I've served in, I've always been the only guitar player. I was slapped on a touring team as the only guitar player. So you got to figure out rhythm. You got to figure out lead. If your keys player is already holding down the pad, you got to play the synth parts. Sure. There's a lot of stuff you got to do, a lot of things you get to pick from. And you, most of the time, only go out with 4 dudes, including yourself. It's 4 is the pretty common number. You have a guitarist, a bassist, a drummer, and you. Yeah. And that leaves a lot of... I have a lot to pick from. Yeah. I have a lot to pick from. And that's the best part, because whenever there's not just one thing I can do, it lights up in my brain. I'm like, oh, I could do this way this time. And then you always give me the look that's like, that didn't work. And I'm just be like, I know it didn't work. But, well, I mean, I believe in, I mean, like there are acts, I mean, and I don't mean this to bash anybody, because I have done it. Like I did a Christmas tour where, like, man, every element of my songs, except for the drums, was in the track, even though I had a guitar player. And it wasn't a knock against him. It was just, hey, you know what? This just makes it so that, hey, even if there's a big mistake, it doesn't really affect anything, because it's the tracks, you know. Yeah. The guitar was more of like, hey, it's there. He can kind of do some creative stuff, and he did. It was great. But like, I believe in, hey, if you're gonna bring guys out to play, let them play, and let them maybe even interpret the song. It's like, you know me, my rule is always, look, it doesn't have to be the way it is on a record. It just has to feel that way. It has to the song has to feel the same way as it does, or better than the record. And it's crazy to hear like how like you'll play, Jonathan will play guitar for me on a song, and the stuff he plays so different from what you might play. And it's been true. I've had a guy, Jordan Smith, JD, he came out and he did some stuff that, like, man, and that guy sometimes can play a guitar. It sounds like there's 2 guitars playing, doing different things. I don't know how he does it, but in the way, like Nathan's played guitar, you guys all interpret the songs differently. That makes it fun for me. But again, and what's cool about it, if it's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that tone, you guys are like, okay, and you change it. You're happy to do it. Now, Victor might rebel and go, yeah, you're right, it doesn't work, and do it anyway. And then later I'm like, well, bro, that was awesome. He goes, yeah, it's the same thing you told me not to do. Oh, okay, cool. But the other thing, so there's 2 things. There's the freedom of being able to do whatever I want. And you don't know this. Every other artist I played with knows this, because I tell them whenever it happens. Every other artist knows this, because I tell them whenever it happens. Whenever something goes down, when tracks go down, my ears go down, I just get a big grin on my face. And it's funny, because whenever it's happened, I could see like Chris said, the oh no, the hello darkness, my old friend. Yep. I've come to, in your eyes whenever it happens. And my eyes are the complete opposite. I'm like, yeah. Let's go, game on. And it's just like, I lock into your symbol, and I'm just like, oh. That's the best.
One really cool thing, I gotta say, appreciate Victor very much. We were doing, it was my hometown show, and it was pretty hot in that building that night. And for some reason, we just didn't have any water bottles on the stage. And I think we got into like song 3, and we kind of had like a little break after song 3 where I kind of talk a little bit, and my voice is kind of like, hey, this is really good to be here. And like, I didn't have to say anything. All of a sudden, Victor's just like bolts off the stage. And I'm like, what? Okay. So anyway, I just and he knew I was going to talk for probably about another minute or so, and shows up with a water bottle for me, man. Saved the day for me. I apprecied that.
I love that show because the power died twice.
Yeah, that was one of those shows where, that can happen, man. Like, And the interesting thing is like, look, that stuff's going to happen. How do you deal with it? You know, and sure, you can get mad, cancel the show, or just be like, okay, we can deal with this. This is not going to be a problem. And, you know, what I find is, man, crowds are pretty cool when that stuff happens. It's like, oh, dang it. And, you know, I always just kind of laugh it off like, well, okay. And then I just assure people like, look, hey, you know, we're going to try to fix this. Hey, we don't really need this stuff, worst case, you know, and that has happened. We one time had that happen. And, and part of the problem was that particular church, they valued their deep fryer over us having an electrical outlet. They were like, you know, now we're doing deep fried Twinkies. Well, we need a different outlet. This one keeps blowing, and they're just like, but we're making deep fried Twinkies. It's like, all right, well, you know, so we actually had spent all day setting up lights and everything.
Was that the same one? I could not get a clean RF signal no matter what I tried.
No, you were.
No. This was like running like 300-foot cables from the grass to the.
And honestly, I blame myself because they wanted to set us up close to the church. I didn't like us being the grass. The grass was like slanted. It was weird. I'm like, there's no way that's going to work. So let's put it out in the parking lot.
And there was a wedding or procession the same day.
No, there wasn't. But
yeah, because we were outside and you saw the people in like the tuxes and the fancy dresses and they were all. No,
you weren't on that run. That wasn't you.
No. The one where the power died twice.
No,
that was different.
What show was that?
The power died. That was the first time I met Randy.
Yeah, that was. So the initial show I'm talking about, we were playing somewhere up in Pennsylvania. It was probably a year before that one.
Okay.
It was like August. It was like an August run, and then you came on that October run. That was 2018.
Okay.
And no, it was 2019 because I had my cool leather jacket after I lost all the weight. But yeah, we had learned a hard lesson there, and we ended up finishing the show acoustic. What bugs me about that, and listen,
we liked it better.
People came up to us, wow, we liked the acoustic better. I was just kind of like, oh, thanks. I wish you would have told us. It would have saved us 4 hours of setting up.
Gosh.
But you know, yeah, but that kind of stuff can happen. What's really funny sometimes though is when we try to be spontaneous on stage, and sometimes it works great. Other times, not quite so much. And we were. This is a Victor because Victor loves. He loves doing his little spin moves and stuff, and you know people love it. They'll come up and they're just like, "How do you do that?" I don't even know how they do it. I watch it on video. It gets this weird kick thing, and you know, so him and the guy playing bass at the time, his name's Jordan. They had done during like the last song of the set. It was "His Name Is Jesus," and they had kind of on stage sort of non-verbally decided they were going to do this spin move thing during like the last chorus. So I'm kind of like, hey, I'm going to get involved in this. Like what they're going to spin, I'm going to spin too. So we came around and like they had done the spin and I'm thinking, okay, cool. They're going to do it again like they did last time. So we get to like the second chorus of a double chorus, and I just spin around for no reason, and they didn't do it. And I'm like, well, that was awkward. Uh-oh. And it's almost like you guys planned that. It was funny. But it's funny some of the nonverbal stuff that can happen on stage with a band. And I think that's kind of a weird thing that happens, just weird oneness, you know? You just kind of look at each other and you just know. Like, I mean, I remember there was a show, we had some girl playing with us doing backup vocals, and her mic died. And I didn't really know what was going on, except for that, like, I couldn't hear her. So I just kind of looked, and I remember, like, making eye contact, and just knowing that, oh, like, she's telling me her batteries died. So I look at the sound guys over there, and it was just like, it was almost like I heard them go, the batteries are dead? Okay. Like, just non-verbally. It's weird, the nonverbal communication that happens on a musical stage, you know? Just like when we were talking before we started recording about a time when we started playing a song and it was just like, man, we train wrecked it. And me and Chris look at each other and I just knew he was just like, can we stop, please? Can we stop playing this song? Everything was wrong about it, you know? But man, it's crazy that we can have all those crazy fun moments and look back on them and laugh at least, you know? One thing I will say, out of everybody who's played for me, I think Nathan's the only one I don't have a story where I'm like, Yeah, Nathan really messed this up. Like, that just has never happened.
I don't do that.
Yeah, no, you really don't. I mean, the only thing I can ever say is funny about Nate is that, like, he's always going to be late. He doesn't mean to be, but he always is a few minutes late. And it's just kind of become a thing where it's like, yeah, I know, you'll be late.
I plead the fifth.
Please.
But you're not wrong.
There,
Yeah, I'm kind of interested.
there are so many
Kind of interested to hear these
amendments.
stories that Tom has on us.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
I'm kind of interested to hear these stories that you have on us.
Oh, they're just silly ones, you know.
Oh.
Just
You said you got ammo, bro. Where's the
do.
fire? Come on.
oh man, you guys really want me to? I mean, I kind of. I mean, okay. I mean, I kind of touched on it briefly. I decided I didn't want to roll you guys under the bus. We already shared his sleepwalking story.
You gotta share. You gotta
probably the
share
best
You
one.
gotta share the ocean one.
Oh, that one was
Yeah,
funny.
was that my fault or was it your fault?
No. 100% my fault.
No. Let's back it up. 1,000% my fault. I'll tell you why.
That's fair.
I'll take the blame on it because I think what that was my fault because one, I knew the person who was going to absolutely request the song was coming. Her name's Laura Jacobs, incredible fan, huge supporter,
So sweet.
and she loves the song Ocean. And I've threatened for a long time to just not play it anymore. And it's not that I don't love the song. It's just time to move on from it. It's the first single I ever put out. I have other music, just a different sound, and I have found, at least from my perspective, I've played it, and I feel like people are like, okay, we get it. It's because the song is a little on the long side. So anyhow, I haven't prepped Jonathan really for it. I mean, granted, I do supply everybody in my crew with materials, charts, things like that. Because, I mean, I know some artists will just be like, yeah, go on Spotify, learn my songs. I prefer to send out charts, give you tracks, because I want to give you guys every opportunity to be successful. And, you know, and at that point, if I haven't done that, then, I mean, because again, it's like, if I haven't done that, then I just feel blameless. Like, well, I gave him everything. It's kind of really on him. And at the end of the day, I do feel like the easier I make things on everybody, the more successful everything's going to be. So with that said, I just we hadn't played it. I told him not to worry about it. And, you know, dear old Laura's like, please play Ocean. I'm like, and I was just like, no, sorry. And to be fair, the only reason it could be your fault is you're like, yeah, man, let me listen to it. We'll be fine. So I'm like,
Because we had played it before, and typically, I can usually listen to a song one time through, got it, and also I have the charts because you provide all that stuff. I'm like, let me look at the chart one time. Let me
we have
listen
like
to it.
no internet. We're in the middle of a cornfield or whatever
And
that was.
And
Yeah.
again, that was the problem because I'm trying to pull the chart up and I'm looking at Chris and I'm like, I can't get the chart. Then I'm like, I'll go on Spotify, and literally the song will play and stop, play and stop. 5 minutes later, I'm 25 seconds into the song, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go off memory. I'm like, this is it. That's all I got.
So it's like, hey, you good for it? Yeah, all right, let's give it a shot. So here's the funny part though, is all right, we come up because they want this particular venue is like an outdoor thing. They wanted us to break my show up into sets, which thankfully it was an acoustic thing. We just did one acoustic, we did a drummer, and so I'm like, all right, so Laura Jacobs, this song's for you, and she is not anywhere to be found.
Oh no, I forgot about that.
So we're like, okay, we'll play something else. So we played something else. And then she finally shows up. Oh my gosh, did I miss it? No, we're fine. We'll play Ocean. Okay, cool. So drummer goes to intro it, and he's like, I don't remember what key it is.
Whatever I had in my mind after running through it was gone because we did this other song.
So it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna start that again. Ready? Okay. So then I'm literally like in his ear going like, dude, it goes da 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 da. He's like, yeah, I got it, cool. So we start playing it, and he just, I don't know what he was playing, and so I just start singing the first verse, which is, I am, what is it? I don't even know the words. I am fading across the blue horizon, drifting, dreaming. And they're just playing everything wrong. So I changed the words to that the band would know the song. You know, and then I changed it to I am broken, longing for the right chords. And so then it gets to the drifting, like the ocean. And he doesn't know what to, so I'm like, da 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 da.
I just lost the count. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'm not sure what to do. Da 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 da. So anyway, we chopped the crap out of it, but you know, like the last half, we kind of had it. It was like, all right, it'll work, but it's still pretty funny. And you know, look, I think it's a moment. I think you know, look, I don't know too many bands that go out and play something that they weren't planning to play and nail it 1,000%. I think sure some bands might pretend like, I haven't played that song in years, and they kind of knew they were going to get asked for that song for some reason, and they prepped for it. We didn't, and you know what? For not prepping it, doing all the circumstances, man, I am proud of the way that went.
I 100% had that song stuck in my head for days after. I couldn't. It was just
the actual version or Tom's version.
No, trust me. The actual. Yeah. No, Tom's obviously.
Now,
Tom's song.
Now, let me ask you guys this, because it's kind of become the norm for us to all kind of, we all end up singing different weird parodies of my songs when we're on the road for some reason. And like, so is that hard to get out of your head when we're on the stage?
Yeah.
The parody versions?
Yeah. You know, like his name is Jesus. Sometimes I'll kind of walk around like his name is Marvin. He works at Wendy's. You know, just kind of make silly lines, or, you know,
I don't think I've heard that one yet.
like, or like making moves. Like I was like, I'm wearing shoes. You know, like, yeah, like what, you know, I mean, I think it was one, I think one day someone's like, what are you drinking, booze? I'm like, I'm drinking booze. And everyone was cracking up laughing about it. But, you know, and we weren't drinking booze for the record, but that will admit. But
I think it was the first time I played with you was at that festival. I don't remember. I think it was in Indiana or something like that. And it was in like the big covered areas, the outdoor thing.
Yeah.
And you did that, and it was in my ears, and a part of me went, oh my God, I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay.
Yeah. You know, and then the worst part is like, actually, I think I skipped making moves that day just because I'm like, I can't do the run. My voice was so like, I just like, there's no way I'm doing moves. I didn't even do it right there, but like I couldn't make my voice do that. I'm like, it was just like, moves. No, not singing this song. I ruined it, you know. And to be fair, I mean, look, it's post-COVID. At that point, I maybe sung long period of time, like once, just, you know, and that, as you know, as a singer, it takes its toll on you, you know. But yeah, man, you know, it's just, you just never know what's going to happen out there, you know. But so as far as like in the new year, like what are you guys all looking forward to musically? I mean, whether it's individually, playing with me, playing with other people, like what are you, like Nathan, what are you looking forward to the most?
Musically? Man, I've been doing a lot less. It's ironic. My wife and I moved here in 2020 so she could go to school. So we moved to Nashville as a guitar player, as a audio engineer, producer. Like, sweet, we're moving to Nashville. This is incredible. This is a great place to move to. And I have done so little of that compared to what I was doing beforehand. Like, I think 2022, like, finally, after being here for, we moved to August 2020, so it is now, like, today it's been, like, a year and 3 months or so, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
I think finally actually, like, being able to, like, take steps towards doing something musical, like, not just like, oh, yeah, I met Tom. He needs a guitar player. Like, yeah, I like Tom. I'll play with Tom, and we go and do some weekend runs. Like, I think actually being able to, like, start working towards some of those musical goals I've had before moving from Minnesota to here, like, things I was aspiring to in Minnesota and coming back here, or then coming down here and, like, trying to get my feet wet. And obviously, like, the time I moved down was not the time for that. And I, like you had mentioned, and like we all know, there was a year and a half where we struggled with music, like, and audio and video, and like just all the creative aspects of media that we expected to have in front of us because we were working towards it and seeing that grow. Like everything just stopped.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So coming back into like this new season where things are opening up again, I think finally actually being able to take steps in that direction.
Yeah,
Not on a, I should say on a less casual note,
yeah,
where it's like finding someone I enjoy being around and hanging with and being introduced to their group of people and like, yeah, like I can go on a weekend. Like I think these guys will be a lot of fun. And then like, okay, now it's like 6 weeks because my life is just busy in the way. I think being able to like, now that my feet are planted, 2022, just going for it, doing stuff, making moves. To quote,
there it is. Yeah,
to
Bars.
that's awesome. There it is. So, how about you, Victor? What are you looking forward to, like moving forward and in the new year? I mean, you know, we're in Christmas season, about to get into the new year. What are you looking forward to with when it comes to music?
I mean, as far as music goes, like, so I lucked out, and COVID is probably the COVID season from 2019 to 2021 is probably the most active I've been as far as minus like a big tour that I had in 2018. But after that, like as far as working and networking and meeting new people and doing stuff, I got somebody new on the phone every week, and it's great to have that network because I'm all the way up in Minnesota, and luckily local shows were starting to come back at the end of 2019, and they were bands or pop punk bands that needed a guitar player for that night because someone tested something because they were coming back but not in full force.
Right.
And so as like a lot of people got to know each other because bands were swapping musicians for all these shows that they had, because there was times if you have 5 members in a band and one of them can't make it, they're going to find somebody from someone else. Hey, I got somebody that can play this show. I can play this show. And with that, there was also, I had a lot of writing opportunity. I got my, actually, you know, it was pretty cool. In 2020, I got my first top 200 rock song on Spotify.
That's right.
On
yeah.
Spotify when I wrote
That was
it.
pretty great. Yeah.
Rock
Yeah,
on.
so that was wild.
Yeah.
That was wild when I did that song, and that was completely unexpected.
That's great.
And like with a lot of like, obviously it was a tough season for a lot of people, but honestly, before COVID hit 2018 and then early 2019, I was a wreck.
Yeah.
I was probably the happiest when I was on the road, and then when I got home, I just hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it home because I didn't have anything at home. I graduated college, and I didn't have anybody or anything. I had a 1-bedroom apartment all to myself.
Yeah.
And then through COVID, through 2019 and going into 2022, I have an amazing girlfriend. I got 2 dogs. I have a better house that I moved out of the apartment. I'm able to take time off to come to Nashville to shoot someone's podcast that like that I'm debating on whether or not. It's a battle to decide whether I like this person or not every day. But
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who that is.
yeah, no idea. But essentially, I would say that I've had the time. Now I kind of had the bandwidth and the motivation to better myself back into the roots of my craft, because I've been in creative mode a lot.
Yeah.
I've been in creative mode, and creative mode spawns from discipline and in your craft and actually doing it. I haven't learned a new song on guitar in years. I haven't learned a new song. I need to learn all of Taylor's new album. I need to with that.
It's going to take you 10 minutes.
I need to sit down.
I just call it that.
As somebody who bought the record, trust me, it's going to take you 10 minutes.
No, like,
Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting.
So,
can't get my finger.
so as someone also from Minnesota, it's interesting to hear that you felt like COVID was your time where you really like started to flourish in a direction. So was your background like mostly live shows, or like did it switch to COVID when you started doing more production, like for real? Because for me, my background before kind of the world shut down for that season was doing 3 or 4 nights a week. I was playing casinos across the entire Midwest, doing country band variety stuff. So like, all of a sudden I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I like had to go work in a warehouse just to make sure I had food on the table.
That's what happens. Like you move to Nashville. Like I totally identify with that. And I didn't mean to cut off. And I'll definitely I'm gonna let you finish.
Beyonce had to
Speaking of Taylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish. But I wanted to speak on that because man, I know what that's like. Like because I went from, I was like emceeing events, putting on events, playing, singing. I mean, just not to, like what I was doing on Long Island compared at all to what I was doing now, but like, I was at least singing in churches and getting to do stuff. And suddenly I'm sitting on my couch like, I don't know when I'm ever going to touch a microphone again. What did I do? What? I made a mistake. I signed a lease. Oh, there's a panic that sets in, and of course you realize that ends up not, of course that might feel like that because it's not what you used to, but I get that, man. That's not an easy season.
I know.
And essentially what happened, what my background was is,
I'm kidding.
So for 2018, I was actually where I went to school. They had like a touring act, and I was on the road for 2 summers. For 2 summers, I was out for 4 months, and then at the end of 2018, I was out on the road for 4 months doing youth camps and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And when I got home, I was working I was on staff at 2 churches playing guitar for them. One on Wednesdays, one on Sundays, and I was alternating. And I had finished my band's first album, and I was doing writing for that. So I've always been I've been doing production since I was probably 16 years old in high school. And I really took it to the next level when show stopped. And when everything stopped with that, and it kind of got off the ground with this guy being like, I don't know how you came to the conclusion after the first tour, because this is after the first tour we ever went on. You're like, you want to work on a song?
Well, it wasn't so much that. If you remember, I had written a song with Chris Sly. It was called "I'm Letting Go," and at that time, the Jorge Lopez was producing a lot of my stuff, and he was kind of like, man, I'm getting busy with a lot of things. I'm not really doing much producing anymore. So I'm just not producing anything that's not my own anymore. So I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't sure what to do, and I was kind of like, I was in between producers looking for something, and you had been like, dude, I got ideas because I let you hear the demo, which the demo was nothing more than like a synth loop and Chris Sly singing on it. And you were like, dude, I got ideas. Let me try it. And I made you a deal. I said, well, tell you what, actually at the time, you had said I can make a sick track. I said, tell you what, if you make a track, and I like it, I'll use the track, thinking, well, I'll still probably have another producer, finish some other things. And meant like the first track you sent me, granted it wasn't even close to what we landed on, but it was like, oh, I like this. I like where you're heading. You know what? Let's do it. And I realized that like I can have you build the track. I had access to the same vocal guy that was doing stuff when I had Jorge doing my producing. I had access to all the same people, and I'm kind of like, oh, well, maybe I can try to like kind of sit in the producer chair myself and just kind of pull all the strings and let, just kind of similar to what George did, except George actually played drums on it. Yeah. And man, like the track you came up with was fire. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I'm gonna chase this. I like this.
And that was the springboard. That was the springboard that kind of got me up after that, because as far as some of the other clients that came from me after that, and I got lucky that I didn't end up having to seek people out to work with them after that. Is they just, I would get a text and be like, hey, what do you think of this track? What do you think it needs? What do you think on that? And then it would lead into, okay, how much would this cost for you to do? And I'm just like, okay, I thought you just wanted an opinion. I didn't know what you wanted.
No, it's really cool, and so that's really what boils down to, man. And I've kind of looked at like, man, as an artist, like, look, there's people who are above me or people who have been doing this a long time that, man, I would love them to give me a shot. Hey, let me open for you. Let me go on one run with you. Let's see how it goes. Maybe we can write together. Let's try it. And not enough people are willing to try new things or let people, hey, I'll let you do it and see how it goes. And that's just not the norm. So I'm like, well, I kind of want to be the person who kind of is able to go, man, I gave this guy a shot and it worked great. And, maybe I'm part of his story years later, or, maybe even better, he's part of my story as well. Like, man, how great would it be to like, I don't know, maybe like the next release I put out, maybe that takes off. And it's like, man, this all got started because, you asked me for a shot to, hey, give me a shot to impress you. And we went for it, and that's been great, man. I have not regretted giving people a chance when they've asked for it. Because man, like seriously, like, I mean, at some point I gave all of you guys a shot without even really just trusting a gut, I mean, Nathan, think about it. Like
Our first conversation.
yeah, like our first conversation, like honestly, I didn't ask you, didn't audition. It was like, yeah, man, like you want to play? Sure. And you just came over for rehearsal. And it was like, yeah, no problem. Like you got this, What I think is funny about Nathan is that if you ask Nathan to do anything or you're like, yeah, you can do that. He's like, oh yeah. Like he's just got this like, oh yeah. It's like, he was actually going to play drums one time. And I'm like, you can play drums? He's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, that's all I need. I'm like, when he gets the face, oh yeah, I'm like, he's fine. I got it. But yeah, like you exude enough confidence, and I'm like, well, either this dude's a really good liar or he knows what he's doing, and it's been right every time, Fun. And I would say Chris. I would say if I had to say about anyone giving anyone a chance, Chris gave me a chance when most people might have, because Chris came on to play with me during a season where, man, it was a weird. My band was kind of in flux. Like, so I had some guys that it was time to let them go. I had a drummer move away, and I had a guy playing for me, and it was great, man. He played with me a couple of years, and we were tight, but it was time to move on, and that happens. It was just time, and I was also dealing with my mom had cancer, and and I felt like guilty thinking about going on the road, and like it was tough, and Chris came to like the first rehearsal, and I was kind of really out of sorts. Like I hadn't been organized like I normally am. And, poor Chris shows up to a rehearsal, and like even the guitar player hadn't even practiced the songs in forever and didn't know the songs. And Chris is kind of like, you didn't tell me what songs to learn. So it was a mess. And, I called him to be like, hey, what's up? Like something felt off. And he actually was like, man, I feel like and he kind of just called out some of the things he felt like it was an issue. And I was like, well, and he just kind of told me like, look, man, I want to play for you. You got to tell me what to know. And if you do that for me, I promise you it's going to be great. And again, I was like, cool. Well, great. Like, I'll take your word for it. Like, thank you for fighting for the opportunity to say, yeah, I know that it was a rough rehearsal, but here's why. And everything he said made sense. And then he had a few critiques for where I was doing things. And I'm like, wow, you're right. Some changes need to be made. And I made those changes. And, so Chris we gave each other a chance really in that, because it was like, I don't think I gave him like a great representation of what I do in that moment. The best, really, I think what sold me on Chris is when we first met, we sat down, and one of the first things he says to me is like, man, you know what? I've always like wanted to like play a festival or something and like get into a fight with another band. And I'm like, I don't even care if you can play. You're hired, dude. I mean, he's this big guy. He's a big guy. I'm like, dude, you want to brawl with another band? You're in. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's go. And
then we proceeded to talk for another 2 hours. And he's like, dude, you're like, let's give this a shot. And I was like, oh, I should probably mention that I'm pretty hard of hearing.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, yeah. He brings that up at the very end. And I'm kind of like, oh, can you hear the click? Yeah. I mean, sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, okay. And and then he's like, well, who was it? Who was the artist you brought up that you played cajon for? Brandon Heath. You're like, Brandon Heath said I was the best cajon player ever. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Oh, that'll work. That'll work.
It was Phil Joel.
Oh, was it Phil Joel? I thought it was Brandon.
I played 2 shows with Brandon. I did one show or one song for 2 shows for Brandon Heath, but Phil Joel like went out of his way. I thought that was pretty cool. So Phil Joel, if you're listening, thanks.
Did you play with Phil? Or did you play with Brandon and Phil complimented that performance?
No, it was 2 separate.
Things. Do you know Ben Garrett?
Ben Garrett
Played guitar for Zealand for a little while.
I do not.
Oh, long story short.
Dude,
He doesn't know him.
Phil Joel is hands down probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. I mean, just such a chill guy. And man, he gave me so much confidence one time. I played a small festival up in Iowa with him. And he was there super early with us. We were doing sound check, and I guess they had like a rental car with them. So he gets in the rental car, and actually because the festival was like in the middle of a big racetrack. So he actually pulled his car around in front of the stage and rolled his windows down to listen to sound check. And we played most of one song, and he kind of like beeped his horn and went like thumbs up, and it was like, and then it drove off. And I was just like, yeah, he dug it. All right. This is awesome. And just hanging out with him later in the day, it was just like so cool. And, it's guys like him, just, they make it, they take, especially like that seat. I was like my super, super rookie, and just, they really set you at ease by like, hey, look, shows like, cause it wasn't a well-attended festival. And he's like, look, this is normal. Don't worry. There's a lot of these shows that just not a lot of people come, and just, come and do what you do and do it to the best you can. It's going to, it's just not, it's not really a huge deal. Cause we were a little bummed. We're like, man, we came all this way. Where's everybody? And, there was a threat of Wayne and things like that, but super, super great guy, man. But dude, I kind of want to wrap up the talking portion of this, because I want to play some games. This is a Christmas party, right? Chris is a party animal over there with his festive shirt. I have my ugly Christmas sweater. You have your ugly church sweater.
Yes, thank you.
Victor has his festive reindeer. So we're going to play pin the nose on the reindeer. No, we're not going to do that. But I do want to play a quick little game. I don't know. I'm going to go around the table and have a little fun. It's a game called Underrated, Overrated. Okay. Now you can... and what I mean by this is, if you've never heard of Underrated, Overrated, basically, if you feel like the general consensus in the world is that, that's appropriately rated, fine, that's a good rating. If you think, man, it's way underrated, more people should like this, great. If you think, man, way too many people like this thing, it's overrated. And you can give your reasons why. Okay. Now I just have random, this is all kind of off the top of my head. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun with it, okay? Oh, no. Yeah. So I'm going to start with Chris and say, underrated or overrated, lead singers. Asking a drummer, underrated or overrated, lead singers.
Oh, man. I mean, they're absolutely necessary.
Unnecessary.
I'm going to say overrated.
Oh! Specifically, which singers do you play for? No, I'm just totally kidding.
I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to say appropriately rated.
Oh my God.
Since we all, this is my 9 coming out here.
Oh man.
Since we all serve a purpose, everyone is equal.
Milk toast. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Okay. So sorry, you already submitted your answer.
Okay,
your honest answer.
We're gonna rewind that, and then I'm just gonna say overrated.
Okay, we'll stick with overrated. I like that.
overrated.
All right. So Nathan,
Yeah.
underrated or overrated? Beards.
Wow.
It's a tough one because we all have one.
Yeah.
The darkness lies within you.
Overrated.
Wow.
You know what? No. Don't. I'm gonna agree with him. I agree with him because, like, look,
Agree.
we don't have hair on our head. I would take some gorgeous flowing locks, and I would sacrifice. I would go baby face if I could style hair on my head however I want. Because there's a finite style of hats that you can wear. You only got so much to choose from for head wear.
So here's the thing, right? When your beard gets to a certain length, it gets itchy.
It's that skin underneath. It's not your beard. It's because you're not exfoliating.
Yeah, if you don't exfoliate, that's
It's everything underneath the surface of the beard.
Okay.
No bueno. And when your beard gets to a point, you can manage that hair, but you can't like easily manage what's underneath the beard.
You gotta know what you're doing. I do it all the time.
Beards are the safety net for bald dudes. That's what it is. It's a safety net for bald dudes because like if you have a full head of hair, you already look good. If you have a full head of hair and a beard, that's amazing. You just
But if you have no hair and no beard, then it's creepy.
Then you're Jeff Bezos.
You're Jeff Bezos.
So okay,
Oh, man.
so Jonathan, underrated or overrated? Drummers.
Man, I would actually honestly say underrated. To be really honest.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, the first thing I think about or care about when I listen to anything is what's the rhythm section doing, and 100% underrated.
Okay.
If the drummer's off, everything's off.
Okay, Victor, underrated or overrated Apple products? Nathan's getting tight over here. He's like, the better answer the right. Mr. Company Man over here.
Incredibly, you know what? No. They're overrated. They're entirely overrated because it's my own fault.
Oh, Nathan.
It's my own fault that I have
know what?
that ecosystem because
Okay, Nathan's twitching over here. Oh, no.
it's completely overrated because like they Apple does software that nobody else does. There are alternatives to that software that do the exact same thing, but it takes time to learn. It takes time. I already put the time in on my Mac. I don't want to learn something else. And if I have to learn something else, then they make me pay so I don't have to learn something else. That's all it is. It's like
That's a good answer. I like that. Okay, that's funny. I was kind of hoping to start a debate between you and Nathan there, but Nathan seems you might have to plead the fifth since you do work for Apple.
I think I enjoy Apple products. I enjoy the experience I get while using an Apple product, and I enjoy the culture from the teams that I've been a part of at Apple, or like doing experiences like the Today at Apple sessions and like going through those kinds of experiences. Like I've enjoyed those cultural moments of the Apple culture. I've drank the apple juice. Like I am in after learning a ton about the products. Like I see how they're beneficial for me. I see how they can be beneficial for other people. But like you had mentioned, once you learn something, for some people, you can't unlearn, or you don't have the time, or you don't want to put the time in to learn something else.
exactly.
And you just make do with what you've got.
Exactly.
If you're going to use an inferior product, like you can mess around and find out. Like you just deal with your life.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to start a fight, your whole metric and how you're doing this is wrong. You have to say one subject, and then we all say underrated or overrated. So for example, Dove Awards, underrated or overrated?
I'm definitely not going to go there. But so that leads me to actually my last. That actually leads me to my last. I have my last two. So these last two, I'm going to ask underrated or overrated, and I want us all to answer at the exact same time on three and see what the different answers are. And we can certainly discuss. I think it'll be interesting. So, and this could be controversial. This may be the one that that gets Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So choose wisely, because we may have to defend these answers later. Okay? So, underrated or overrated? Answer on three. Worship music. 1, 2, 3.
Overrated.
Adequately rated.
Adequately rated.
I said wildly overrated.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to actually agree with you. 100%.
Yeah, I mean it serves its purpose and sure it reaches people. It does all those things, but as music goes, as clever lyrics go, as melodies, it's a wildly overrated.
I think it's such a narrow scope of, we've talked about this. It's such a narrow scope of what worship means and what worship is, and it takes an entire expression. It's a living, it's a breathing thing, and it confines it to a style that's just all it really is, it's all knockoff U2 and Coldplay. And then let's be really honest. And it's like, there's other groups right now that are popping up, and I don't want to go into specifics because I know people connected to these groups and stuff. But it's like there's groups that are popping up right now known for like the stripped back nature and this kind of communal thing. And I'm like, people have been doing this for 15, 20 years. I grew up in these movements that did what they're doing way better. And it bothers me that the celebrity culture that talks about how much we shouldn't be celebrities.
Yeah.
That I don't mind celebrity work. I don't mind celebrity singers. I don't mind that kind of stuff. But I feel like it's this double-faced thing. It just feels weird.
Okay.
Are we separating the music from the culture here?
Yeah.
Because if we're talking,
I'm just talking
about the
I'm mainly talking
culture,
about the
It's tough for me to split the two, but I even then, yes, I agree with you.
For me, it's for me what it is. I say overrated, but I'm not sure the right I have because I've written 3 of your songs.
Yeah, but what I do is not what I do is not worship music.
I don't write
bit.
it. I don't write it from a worship artist perspective.
I don't write it either. Yeah,
worship versus CCM. We're differentiating those two, right?
They're very different things.
Okay. If that's the case, I can compensate.
Tell that to the Dove Awards though, because they consider them the same thing.
Yeah. So
at this point, it's crazy.
It's overrated. It does what it does for the mission in the environment that it's played in.
Yeah.
As far as the medium that it's played through, music as a medium is endlessly complex, and you don't know what somebody like some of John Mayer's stuff is catchy and groove. Like someone can appreciate the simple guitar playing. It's not heavy. It's not complicated. It's just smooth. You get that smoothness.
Tasteful.
There's different textures. It's like being at a Golden Corral that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
It's like being at a buffet that's not awful. It's like you got all this. You could get a little crazy and put some ketchup on your mac and cheese. It's not wrong. It's not right, but you just know you like it.
So okay. So my final underrated, overrated, and we can answer this one in unison. And this should be a fun one. Because none of y'all have ever done this particular thing for me. And I don't know, there might be some people who wildly disagree with us on this, and I have a feeling that I kind of can predict who's going to say what. But ready? On 3, answer on 3, underrated, overrated, bass players.
Underrated.
Underrated, I agree.
Underrated.
Fully.
Underrated.
Oh, we were supposed to all answer on 3, but...
on a track, underrated. Live, overrated.
Okay.
It depends on the player, man. Completely depends on the player.
Victor, overrated.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think I'm going to agree with Jonathan. I think it depends on the player because, like, I've been in situations where just the guy's just laying down what he needs to do, like just boom, 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 and then I've had other guys boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and like I think there's definitely a separation between those.
Yeah, I used to be a guy who's like, who cares? It's in the track, doesn't matter. And you know what? And you got a really solid bass player live, and it just brings something to a live show, and even a solid bass player brings something to a recording that just isn't. It's definitely underrated, big time, and there was a time where I would argue it so much, like, it's space, who cares? It doesn't matter. And man, it can make or break a song.
It's like guitar's hard to start, but once you get going, it's really easy to fake being competent at, because like it's kind of you can kind of figure it out as you you figure it out as you go. But like bass is, I've always thought it's easy to start. And maybe easy to kind of like do the bare minimum, but to be a good bass player, to hold that rhythm section together, to really be in the pocket, like it's a whole different world.
Well, man, it is awesome that you guys are here and hanging out for a little bit of a Christmas party. We're gonna play a little game, and I think we're gonna. So we're actually gonna take a break because I need to get the sweatshirt off. I'm dying. So we're gonna take a few minute break, and then we'll figure out how we can film and play the game for a little bit.
All right, so the game's called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. Going to distribute these cards evenly. Every card has either a pizza, a cat, a goat, cheese, or taco on it. You're going to flip your card that way.
So you flip the card like that, okay?
So flip it outwards, and you're gonna say in this order: taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza. So if I'm first, I say taco, you say cat, you say goat, you say cheese, you say pizza.
We've got the perfect number of people.
We do have the perfect number of people. If this card matches what you say, everybody slaps. Last person to slap takes the whole deck.
The last person to
The last person to slap takes the whole deck. Now, there's 3 special cards in this game. There is the narwhal. And what the narwhal does, what you have to do when a narwhal card comes up, is you have to put your hands over your head first and then slap. Then there is the groundhog card. And that card, you have to knock the table. And then there's the gorilla. And that you have to beat your chest. So do the same thing 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slap. If you slap and it's not supposed to be slapped, you take all the cards as punishment.
Why? Actually, if you got rings, take them off, please. If you got rings or watches on your hand, just or whatever hand you slap with.
All right, ready? So I'll start with taco. Okay.
Dark shuffle.
Taco,
Cat,
Goat.
cheese.
pizza, taco.
cat,
Goat.
No. You keep it.
wait.
You keep it.
The last
keep
person
last
to slap.
Slap.
Last person to slap.
That's for the slap. Bear in mind, I was the only person to do the normal.
That was the
But-
practice round.
No, I did.
That was the practice.
Okay.
Now
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Taco.
Cat,
Taco.
Cat. Goat.
Taco.
Cat.
I'm like, wait a minute, what? Taco.
Cat.
Goat. Cheese.
Oh, dang it.
pizza. Now we're going pro. We got this. We got this. All right, ready?
Yep.
You go.
Taco.
You have the one card.
Like,
I
keep it going.
had no idea.
Play it.
Taco.
Wait. Taco.
Cat.
Okay. Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese. Pizza.
Taco.
Taco.
Cat. Goat.
Give me this. Okay. Taco.
I definitely just hit my head 4 times for narwhal. Oh my god. Taco.
I'll take it. Okay.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Give me that.
I've never moved this fast in my life.
Taco.
Cat.
Oh, shit.
There you go. All right.
Let's go.
No.
Launch it quick.
Taco.
Cat. Goat.
Nice. There you go.
He's getting
Okay.
excited.
I just saw pizza. I got excited. Sorry. Taco.
Cat. Goat.
That was
I
great.
think that was me. I think taco.
Cat.
Goat. I saw the blue.
We all did. I'm glad that you first. I hesitated. That's the only thing that saved me.
Just get around here.
Cat.
Goat. Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Whoever was laughing.
You right there?
Broken thumb.
I think the rules.
Cat and
I think
goat.
the rules say even if you flinch.
Oh,
okay. That changes things.
Yeah.
That
So let's
changes
do it
things.
even
So
if
we'll
you
do
flinch.
a round in the next one.
Okay.
Since we're
Alright.
still
Okay.
Taco.
Cat.
goat cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
Panicked.
Taco. Stop. All right.
Okay. We need a taco.
Cat. Goat.
Cheese.
I'll take that.
Everybody's hands okay.
Well, I kind of went through a quick series of like.
Yeah, it's like you see the card and you're not sure which one you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I just love the freeze.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat. Cheese.
Pizza.
Chris, what are you doing? Taco.
Cat.
The narwhal.
That's me.
This is gonna. So Victor's gonna be editing this, and Victor gets the pleasure of watching every angle of this.
Oh my
It's gonna be funny.
I'm gonna relive the pain.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
That's my bad.
Whoa.
So swapped it.
I saw it when he flinched it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Taco.
I screwed up. That's my card. That's all you get.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you only have 2 cards
Wow,
left?
what? Cheater.
What? Wow.
Someone's
Okay.
sandbagging.
Ready? Taco.
Cat.
Goats.
Cheese.
Pizza.
He won. He
won?
won. He got it first. Okay. Okay.
So for the folks at home, what's fun about this game versus like when Chris and I were talking on the podcast is we were talking about Gypsy Rats group. That actually becomes a game of like sort of it's kind of like almost like you're counting cards. You're kind of paying attention to what that person might have. You're anticipating, and Chris is very good at that. Thankfully, he's not very good at this game, so I don't have to throw anything or get mad or you know. I mean, I have this fantasy. I saw it in a movie once of like, I don't know, throwing a bullet at him and telling him like the next one's coming faster. Like that would be cool. That'd be funny.
This is the 3rd hole we'd have to patch in the studio door this week, Tom.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Well, I did a desk pop.
Taco.
Cat.
Go.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
Cat.
Go.
Oh, wait. To be fair, I knocked on the table. I didn't chest beat.
Okay.
Honest.
I'm on camera. I can't lie. Taco.
Cat.
Well, we both.
You got it. Come on. That was
All right,
pretty
here, we're
bad.
Taco.
Cat.
Okay.
Taco.
Cat.
Go.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco. Oh, I knocked on the table again.
I did the same. I did. Yeah.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese.
Pizza.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Get out of here, Nate. All right, taco.
Cat.
You flinched. You flinched.
Get
Go
the
for
cheese
it.
back.
All right.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
Cheese.
Hang on.
Sound like taco.
Cat. Go.
Cheese.
I don't even mind being the last one in when Victor's hand is just getting destroyed. It's like, I'm glad I'm the
His
last one.
livelihood is disappearing slowly as the game goes along.
It's okay. I need 2 fingers. That's all I need. I just need 2 fingers.
Just taco.
Cat.
Goat.
I only got
Get
one.
out of here, Chris.
I only got one.
Get out of here.
Throwing up gang signs.
I'm a little. We gotta put time.
I need a minute.
Hardest I've laughed all year.
Everybody good?
Oh, man.
Oh no.
Taco.
Taco.
Cat.
Goat.
You saw it here first, America. Yes.
So, Jonathan Denney, 3-time champion of taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza. This camera to completely bite off of Hot Ones. Tell people what you have coming up.
Man, well, I have a record I'm working on right now. I'll be home for a while.
Yeah, no one cares. Drop it.